Hi, everyone. I just wanted to hop on here to go over the marketing scorecard. We are going to make it Marketing March and go over your social media accounts, your websites to make sure you are compliant. It's not a finger wag. We are just making sure that the BCFSA is not the one to warn you that your marketing is not compliant. So just going over the scorecard. Some of you have seen this before, more than likely. We've done it for the last few years. And I want to go over exactly what all of these items meant. And these are the most common areas we see problems with. So number one, uses his or her own name as registered with the BCFSA. So your name can only be displayed on any of your social media and website accounts for real estate as it is registered with the BCFSA. So if you have a name that you'd prefer to go by, but it's not your legal name, then make sure the BCFSA is aware of it and that it's registered with the BCFSA. They are lenient with shortened versions of names that are very obvious, such as Benjamin going by Ben. But if you have a name that is unrecognizable in the English language, and you pick an English name. So say my mother's name is Yinhua, but she goes by Joanne. If she wanted to go by Joanne on her marketing material, she would need to register that with the BCFSA. PREC written out in full, number two. So if you are a personal real estate corporation, unfortunately on all of your marketing material and your website and social media, wherever your name shows up, it needs to read Personal Real Estate Corporation afterwards. You cannot put PREC. The only time PREC is acceptable is when it is a system generated item, such as a feature sheet from MLS. So anywhere you're putting it, it needs to be written out in full. The brokerage name written out in full. So this is very important, and we see a lot of problems with this all the time. Make sure that it's very obvious to the public that you belong to Oakland Realty Ltd. Or Oakland Realty Downtown Ltd., whichever brokerage you're registered to. It needs to be written out in full. So unless you are using our logo, which we got the okay for, you need to have Oakland Realty Ltd., the whole thing, or Oakland Realty Downtown Ltd. So just make sure that it's prominently displayed. That is the key to it. They say that it needs to be at least 15% of the image. So just make sure that it is prominently displayed. And it also cannot be at the bottom of the website. It needs to be on the landing page of whatever you're using to advertise. So make sure it's at the top. The easiest way to do this is just putting the logo in the banner at the top of your website or at the top of your social media accounts. Brokerage name clearly displayed, same thing, make sure it's at the top. Another thing that came up was with social media posts. So it's not just enough to have it at the top of your account, but if you are posting and sponsoring a real estate advertising piece, such as on Instagram, make sure that it's prominently displayed on the piece. So the easiest way to do this is to add the logo to the picture, and then that's way it's shown. Otherwise, if it's in the write-up, sometimes you'll have to click more, and that's unacceptable. You have to have it kind of at the top of the write-up if you have it in there. Correct brokerage address listed. You don't have to have the address, but if you do, it needs to be where your license is hung. Team names displayed, registered, and all team members listed. So the biggest change for this one coming up in April is that if you advertise as an individual outside of your team, you actually need to add the team name to your website. Everything else kind of remains the same in terms of marketing your team. You need to use the team name as registered in full at the BCFSA. So if you're ABC Street Team, you can't just call yourself the Street Team. It needs to be ABC Street Team. Realtor and MLS trademarks used correctly. Make sure it's all in capitals with the trademark symbol following. And correctly references solds. So just be sure that you are referencing solds correctly, in that if you are on the purchase side, that you're asking for permission from the listing agent to advertise the sold and getting that in writing. and referencing the listing brokerage when you post it. You also cannot post a sold price before completion. You also cannot make it so that people can calculate the sold price before completion. And then after completion, you cannot be posting the list price. So we should never see those two prices at the same time. Has a basis for awards or comparative claims. Just make sure that nothing is misleading and that you are sourcing all the information you are putting. You can't just say you are the top realtor of all time. You need to say you are the top realtor in whatever it is, White Rock, BC, based on units sold in 2022 or whatever it is. Or if you're a part of the medallion, make sure you're only advertising whether you're top 1% or top 10%. And nothing in between, and that you have all the years listed. If you are a medallion for a consecutive 5 years, you can put a range, but you need to have all 5 years in there. Follows general Oakland brand guidelines, which can be found on the vault, and professional headshot consistency. So just make sure that it's a professional headshot. We prefer a gray background with the body centered, but we're just hoping that you don't have any selfies posted for your professional websites and social media. I hope this helps. If anyone has any questions, please reach out and look for your scorecard in your email in the next month or so.